Today's lesson is going to be a bit more extensive than what we have had in the past. It's Orientation 92, and it's the third lesson on the Beehive Brain Box learning system. This lesson is especially, again, for parents. I want to review with you the order of the cards, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the contents and how to use the contents of the deck in order to learn and to help facilitate your children's learning. First of all, we have a title card. This is my set of the 25 most common words, you'll notice. And then we have card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, card number 4, card number 5, the card that says weekly, and I know these. They are put in that order in the deck. Now, how do you populate the deck? Well, you're going to take the title card and put it face down. Then you're going to take number 1 and put that face down. After that, you are going to find words or concepts or ideas in what you're studying or what your child is studying that require some memorization. Well, my first most common word is A. I'm going to print that on the plain side of the card. Normally, you would turn the card over and you would put the information on the line side of the card. But in this case, A is the word, and that's all you really need. So I'm going to put that behind number 1. I also have a capital A because I want the child to know the capital A as well. Many sentences start with a capital A. A snowy day caused the school to shut down. The second most common word we have is the, and so I put that in the deck behind number 1. Now, if you were using these cards as you're supposed to, you would go through the cards behind number 1 the first day, and you would have the child look at the cards, and you would flash the cards. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Or you could bring it in from the outside and say, what's the word? As soon as they can identify the word, then you put it back in the deck behind number 1. And this one, the same way, and the same way. Now, I do not trust that they are going to know the word the first time, and so I leave the card behind number 1. The second time that the child goes through the cards in the day, I will move a word if necessary. The second time, I will get the deck out again. I will put the title card face down. I will put the number 1 card face down, and I will drill the child with the card, and I'll say, what's this? A. Okay, very good. I'll put that down to the side. A. Very good. I'll put this one down to the side. What's this one? Oh, I don't remember. Well, if a child does not remember at any point, it goes back behind number 1. So you're going to put that card down behind number 1, and these two, which are the letter A, you're going to put behind number 2. Now, the next day, I'm sure there's going to be more information that the child is going to pick up. And so, like the third most common word we have is of, and the fourth most common is and. So these are going to go behind number 1. They're going to be drilled for a short period of time and then put behind number 1. Now, the second day, when you look at the cards, you're going to put them down, and you're going to go through 2, what is behind 2, and you start with what is behind 2 first. Okay? So, do you know this? Yes, that's an A. This? Yes, that's an A. If the child knows it, it goes behind 3. Anytime the child knows it, it advances 1 more number card. Okay, so now we have the words behind number 2. And, do you know this one? Yes, I know and. Okay, that goes behind number 2. Do you know of? Oh, no. So that stays behind number 1. And do you know the? Oh yeah, that's, you know this one, it's the. Okay, that goes behind number 2. So Then the third day, you may have some more cards, okay? The third day you may have some more cards. And that is what I'm trying to find right here. Okay. Okay, the next most common word that the children will learn is to. To. And in. So these you drill for a little bit. If the child knows them, they go behind number 2. If not, they go behind number 1. I'm going to just pretend that 1 went behind 1 and 1 went behind 2. So here's your deck. It's the third day. You are going to open it up to the cards that are behind number 3. Number 3. Set number 3 aside, and you will find that you know, or the child has known these cards, A and A. Does he know them? Yes, he does. So they go behind 4. Anytime a child knows something, they go behind the next card. Then you're going to look at the cards behind number 2. Does he know in? Yeah, I know in. Okay, that goes behind number 3 now. Do you know and? That goes behind number 3. And the, oh, that's still one of those words that I'm having a trouble with. So that goes back behind number 1. Remember I said anytime that the child cannot identify or correctly say what a concept or a fact is, it goes back behind number 1. So that goes back behind number 1. And then you take out the cards that have been behind number 1. Do you know this one? Why, yes, it's 2. So you put the card behind 2. And do you know this one? That's of. Okay, that goes behind 2. Then you find that you have the first 6 cards in here. Now what happens the next time? You know, and I've said days, and that is a little bit confusing, and I want to stop right now and say the child and you should go through the Beehive learning deck more than once a day. You should do it about 3 times a day. Space it out over the course of the day. Don't do it all at once. Do it when the words or the concepts or the facts are first introduced. Then do it a couple hours later, and then a couple hours later. This is called spaced review, and it helps to get it punched into the memory. Remember, there is a chemical change in the brain after we've gone over something so many times, but you don't want to do it all at once. That only counts as once. So you want to do it several different times over time. So doing the cards 3 times a day is a good pace. And if the child knows them, that is terrific. If he's having trouble, hey, he gets the practice he needs. Now what happens the next day? Well, the next day you're going to look behind number 4, and guess what? You have this one, A. Okay, he knows that. Does he know this? Yes, he knows that. That's great. It goes behind 5. It has advanced behind 5. Now you have 4, and you have some cards behind 4. Of, yes, you know that one. 2, yes, he knows that one. That's great. So you have some cards behind 4 and 5. Behind 3, I'm sure the 3 one is in here. There we go. What do you have behind 3? You have in, and you have and. And for some reason, the child doesn't remember and, so that you set aside to go behind number 1. and you have the, and do you know it? Yes, now it goes behind number 2. So you can see the progression of the cards, and what you have left is and behind number 1 that the child didn't know, and you're adding 2 more because this is another day. Boy, I wish that thing would focus in. That is terrible. Come on, focus, thank you. Okay, so is the next word, goes behind number 1. And you is the next word, goes behind number 1. You study those cards for a while, and if possible, you get them behind number 2. If not, they stay behind number 1. Then you go over the cards again a couple of times in the day. If the child knows one of the cards, it advances. Maybe he has figured out what and is, and every time you go through it, so it goes behind number 1 to number 3. Okay, the next day, and this is really, really, really important, is that as you study, that you do advance the cards behind each of the numbered. Well, we've come up to where you have cards behind number 5, and I want to stop with this lesson. It's just a simple progression. When a child knows a word or a fact or a concept that is on a card, it advances behind the next number card. In the next lesson, we will talk about what happens when you have cards behind the number 5.